Hey, this is Maddie. Today we're going to be showing you how to clean up Magic the Gathering cards and wipe off the surface so that you can take an inkjet printer and print on top of them. This is specifically for making proxies. We're going to be using legitimate cards to clean. Right now we have some from what looks like the Guilds of Ravnica set. I believe this was the cards that were easiest to clean in general just because of how the ink settles on them. The other sets can usually be used, but sometimes it's a little hard to actually get them wiped off clean. Our end goal is just to have as wide of a surface as we can here. So we're going to go ahead and take some acetone, and we have our professional nail polish remover 100% acetone here. This is pretty easy to get your hands on. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. I'm going to get some cotton swabs or some face scrubs, some cotton face scrubs. That don't have anything on them right now. They're just plain old cotton. I'm going to take one of the rough sides because sometimes you have some that have a smooth side, sometimes you have some that have a rougher side, and I'm just going to get a little bit on there. Try not to drip any on our area. Remember, this is acetone, so depending on what you're using it on, you might end up losing some color or tearing up something, whatever platform you're scrubbing on. So we just have this on a plastic surface and we're really not worried about it. That being said, while we're scrubbing this is drying out. This acetone is drying out from this cotton swab, and at the same time, if you leave your bottle open, it's going to start evaporating in the air. So make sure you close that. So we've got just a dab on here. You probably want to wear a face mask so you're not breathing it in constantly, but if you're familiar with nail polish remover, that's kind of up to you. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get started here. We're going to try and put some pressure down, and I'm actually going to bring this to the side a little bit so that I've got a good platform to work with so it's not moving around constantly. And we're just going to start wiping down. This should take us about 2 minutes per card. The damper your cotton swab is, or your face cleaner is, the easier it's going to come off, but at the same time, you're probably going to get a little bit of tear on the back. You're going to get some of the fading that you're expecting on the front to start seeping through on the back if you're not too careful on the edges here. And you can see how easily it's coming off. You might have to put a little more pressure when you come to corners or to dark areas. And when you start to see the black kind of blend instead of get removed, or the colors start to blend instead of get removed, you want to let up. You don't want to keep using that same spot, or you might do something like this right here. I was able to get that one off, but I'm just putting a little bit of pressure on my fingertip here and just going straight with it. You can see how easily this is coming up. And this is honestly a lot of work per card, but if you're making some proxies for like a commander deck, just so they'll mesh well, so they'll look clean. If you're trying to make your commander itself a proxy, it looks nice. And that's honestly, some of that's really dependent on your inkjet printer. So see here, we've used a little bit on this. I don't want to accidentally smudge too much black across. Let me adjust my camera just a little bit there. And what we're going to do, just get a new piece of cotton, put a little more acetone on it. We're going to keep going. We're just going to finish up here. Gonna sound like Bob Ross by the time I'm done, if I'm lucky. This corner's being a little hard. Okay, looking good. Try and get a little bigger area here. I'm gonna take deep strokes. Once you start getting down to the white, you know you're doing well. Oh, made a little mess up here. We were able to clean most of it up. I'm gonna go ahead and damp up the other side here so I don't waste this one too much. My hand dry off. And we're gonna get started again. And you don't want to tear too deep on a place that's already, starting to show the white. You don't want to put too much pressure there, because what you might end up doing is tearing through the paper or getting too deep into the paper. And what we're just trying to do is clean off this surface, this ink and the layer that's been applied with the printers that the manufacturer had. We're almost done. Let's make sure our pad's still a bit dry so I'm not ruining the bottom half. shaking the camera a lot here. Almost done. So close. Getting a little dark here because I've got some darkness on my hands from the ink. Probably could do it with some vinyl gloves a little better. Okay, for the most part, we're looking clean. Gonna try and just find a damp spot on this and just try and do a little touch up without adding any more ink to the piece. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. Looks like I got a little damage on that side there. And so now you can see that yes, there is some dark spots on the top, just a little bit. But this is going to be pretty easy to print on as long as I'm not printing a very white card. And if we look at the back here, we haven't done any substantial damage to it. You can see a little bit of damage here and a little bit at the bottom. But for the most part, we're going to be able to slip this into our commander deck, play it just like normal. Remember, the goal here is not to scam your friends into pretending that you have a fake card, or not to print out real cards on these. You know, we're completely going to be using proxies. In fact, give me one moment. I'll show you some of the proxies we put together so far. So now we've got a nice little collection here of ones we put together that should all be just alternate art. You know, I'm not going to sit here and credit all the artists, but they've done some amazing work. And so we've just printed these directly onto our blanked out cards. And most of them look really good. Now, that being said, you know, this is a video about specifically wiping them. Remember, for this to really work out, for these to really shine, you're going to need an inkjet printer. You could probably pull it off with another one, but that inkjet's really just going to get you the color you're looking for. And on top of that, sometimes those inkjet printers, they just don't look amazing when you first go to print them. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of work towards you know, changing the contrast and the color and the paper type. And on top of that, because we're going to say that a few times, what you want to do if you're going to try and do this is you want to get yourself a template. So what I do is I'll get an actual card size, right? I'll get a card size, put two cards beside each other, outline them, and just know what what my shape is supposed to be. And then I'll try and get that exact shape, which I think it's 2.5 by 3.5, but I could be off on the actual size. And I'll put that little drawing on my sheet of paper, and then I'll print out that sheet of paper. I'll compare my size to make sure they fit okay. If they fit okay, after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to print a mock-up of the card on it. And if the card looks right and looks like it's going to fit, sometimes I'll make it a little bigger just so so I lose some of the outer scale. If it looks good on this piece of paper, this is a little thicker than regular paper, I'm going to take a X-Acto blade, cut it out, and then I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to apply some painter's tape to it. The painter's tape is specifically so it doesn't pull off any more of the back than we have to. And then what we do is, you already know how it printed out, how it aligned. Make sure when you try and print it the first time, you say what the top and what the bottom is on your paper too. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put this blanked out card right where we cut, right where we knew our picture was. We're going to push it down and make sure it's sitting well, that it's not going to just pop off in our printer. We're going to feed it back through the printer, print your new picture that you want on there, print your card on it, and hopefully it's going to look good. As I said, you might have to do some trial and error. You might be wiping a few cards till you get the perfect one too. Sometimes your ink needs to be adjusted, sometimes your card type, and sometimes your contrast and darkness settings and even print speed need to be adjusted to make this work out. But if all works well, you'll have yourself some pretty good looking proxies, make yourself a brand new looking commander. Friends might be impressed, or you might just be trying to build out a deck that just looks amazing, you know? Anyways, that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. This is Maddie. Thanks.